Hello and welcome to Autocar Professional. One of the most pressing issues today is the participation of women in the leadership roles in the automotive sectors. And one of the industries and sub-segments, if you may call, that is changing that is the technical part of this part of the things, especially as software-defined vehicles, automation, and a lot of tech part coming into the vehicle. That is what is changing this trend. Today, I have with me Miss Latha from Continental. Welcome, ma'am.
Hi, nice to be here.
Yeah, and she would. I'm sure you would love to share your views on this. Let's start with this. Studies suggest that automotive industry and even manufacturing in general has been a very male-dominated industry traditionally, and as few as just 3% CXOs are women in the automotive sector. But do you see a trend where software-defined vehicles and ER&D are creating more opportunities for women in this sector? What would you say your views are on this?
Quite an interesting question. Yeah, I would say the answer is yes. If you look at I've been in the industry for more than 3 decades now, and from that time, I see that there is a steady progress in the increase of women in the workforce. And this is applicable not only to the entry level, but at all levels, we see that there are more women coming in. And the automotive or the vehicle, which was probably a very mechanical device which took us from a point A to point B, I think it is now transforming into an IoT device which is connected to the cloud all the time. Yeah, which means that the software content is increasing, and which means that we have more people working on software who are also coming into the picture, right? And there was also a perception in the industry that this is a hardcore mechanical industry, and people were not even, there were not many women who were willing to go to the plant as well. But we see that with robotic arms coming in, a lot of automation coming in plant, we also have a lot of women who are embracing manufacturing also. So starting from manufacturing to design to development, R&D, testing, everywhere we see that there are women. And the number of women in the leadership positions also have significantly increasing, and it is very heartening to see. For example, in Continental, we have got around 31% of my people are women. Yeah, so we are a 5,500 plus organization. And we also see that in all levels, we have good amount of women. And there are multiple initiatives that we take to retain talent, and also to groom them to the next levels.
What would you say are the key factors that are responsible for this trend? Like you said, gadgetification of a car. Why is that sort of leading to more women? Like, are these, like you said, that these are less mechanical jobs? And so what are some of the factors that are helping more women get in? Is it a fundamental change in the way women are sort of now being admitted in the educational institute? Is there a fundamental change there? So what would you say is the difference now?
There are multiple reasons. See, when I graduated, we were just, 4 girls in the class and 36 boys. And but now, if you go to any engineering college, irrespective of whatever stream is it, you will see at least 50% girls there, right? So that itself is a fundamental shift which has happened in the education. And women are also, daring to take very different branches, unconventional paths, and they are willing to excel in whichever field they grow. So that's number one. The second thing is that even the organizations are bringing in a lot of policies which are women friendly, whether it is in terms of flexibility, welcoming them after break. Yeah, and there are different development programs specifically for women, the senior management mentorship that is happening. So the organization also is realizing that diversity of thought is important, whether it is in product development, whether it is in bringing in efficiency, whether it is in improving the financial gain. I think it's a well thought initiative from all the corporates to have the diversity of thought at work. And this is also helping. So these kind of policies and equal opportunities for women and the support from the senior management is really helpful for having more women at the workplace.
Got it. If you could share some instances from your life, what has helped you in, because you've worked across companies, global players in the technical part of the things, and like you said that these were unconventional fields for women even back then. So what would you draw from your personal experience in terms of the things that have helped you reach such a scale in your career?
The first thing I would say is the never give up attitude. You can't be bogged down with a lot of external factors which are there. So that's the number one. Second thing is that, I always believe that what you bring to the table matters. Your competency matters more than anything. I don't think that people really look at the gender. They look at what you have to offer to the organization. The agility quotient, the ability to pick up roles, ability to take risks matters quite a lot. Yeah, and obviously all this thing has to be backed up by a lot of hard work and emotional intelligence. So I would say that is there. And one thing which is very important in this industry is also the continuous learning attitude. Because as I mentioned, if you look at the industry itself, it has transformed from a pure mechanical device into a software defined. So I think there is every year we see new technologies coming in, right? First it was mechanical, then we had electrical and electronics coming in. We have different set of sensors coming in. Then we have, software, we have AI, we have blockchain, data, AR, VR. I think the technology is increasing and the technology content is increasing. So what is important for you to excel? I would even say not even excel, even to survive in this industry is this continuous learning mindset and keep updating yourself. The other part of learning is that, if you tell that you are an electronics engineer, I do only electronics, you can't survive in the industry because there is so much of cross-disciplinary stuff happening. So you need to understand the entire system. If you have to change your electronics, you also have to understand a little bit of mechanics, the software associated with the system concepts and so on, right? The holistic view of the product is also very much required. And for that also learning is the key.
Yeah. And obviously, we all know that change is the only constant, and like the one who changes and evolves with time is someone who sort of persists over time. Do you sort of also see different disciplines in terms of within the automotive space that could see a lot more influx of women? For example, even in shop floor, and even in like where you need to handle minute details with EV parts, smaller as parts are getting more small. So how do you what are some of the other disciplines where you see women making a difference and can sort of, we can see a healthy participation from women as well?
In the automotive industry, as I mentioned, you see, I come from the R&D background, whether it is manufacturing, some of the best car designers are women, right? And if you look at the innovation, there are a lot of innovation also brought in by women. I would say end to end, even the supply chain management, procurement, every phase in the automotive world, you can see women are excelling. And I think this will continue and it will only become more, is what I would say. But I think what is more important for all of us to, keep in mind is a couple of things, which I would say, initially when we used to hire somebody, it used to be based on an IQ, which is, intelligent quotient. Then the second thing, what we looked at is EQ, the emotional quotient. But now I think, there are more factors which are coming in, which I would say that one is the learnability quotient, the LQ, and last but not the least is the adaptability quotient. So all these things, four things becomes equally important for you to be successful in the industry. And irrespective of whatever is the field, I strongly believe that there is no glass ceiling, women can excel. But I think these fundamentals have to be very clear and your core engineering skills have to be in place. That's the most important thing I would like to say.
Yeah, that's a very important point. Tell me something. We've been talking about. I know the needle has moved, but it hasn't moved as much as we would like it to be. So, despite a lot of progress that has happened, what are still some of the key challenges that you would say can sort of, companies can do to sort of make them overcome this and see a lot more participation from women as well?
See, from the organization perspective, I feel that, the DEI part, it should not be just a percentage and a number. It has to be a commitment. And this culture of inclusivity has to be driven from the top. Yeah, so that engagement, that commitment, and the authenticity with which we drive is very important. The same time, from the other side, from the women, there is a lot of people who drop out, when they are in their mid-career. That is basically, sometimes it is because of support system. It is also because of fear of failure. Whether if you take a break, what happens to the career. I think these kind of unconscious biases, fears are there. I think from the women's side, if they are able to overcome that, I think that also, that some phase, 2 to 3 years where everybody feel a little bit insecure. I think we are able to overcome that with the right amount of mentoring, the right amount of networking, and the amount of resilience which we have. I think we will make it. Yeah, so I'm sure that this will grow, but it has to go hand in hand with the organization, and the participation of the women have to go together.
Got it. Would you see the new age companies and the startups taking a charge? Because we've seen a lot of CTOs, a lot of CEOs from the startups that are contributing towards this gender ratio that we were just talking about. So, do you see why is it that new age companies are sort of taking the lead in this transformation?
There's a lot of legacy, right? The older companies, most of the companies in the automotive sector, a lot of them also have a manufacturing legacy. Yeah, and the percentage of women were less. So I think they are progressing in a slower pace. But now I can see that most of the Indian OEMs or the tier ones and the tech companies, they are committed to have diversity on the table. So it is moving. But at the same time, a startup which has started maybe 2 to 3 years back, or a tech company, for them it is easier to get there because they have already started with that mindset. So that that also helps.
Got it. If there's any, parting message, we're around the Women's Day here. If there's anything that you would want to sort of say to the younger crop of women who are looking to get into the industry, who are looking to get into the R&D part of it, what is it that they need to keep in mind in terms of, like you said, some lessons from your life? If there's anything that you would want to share.
So the first thing I would say, it is a very, very interesting space to be. I'm as excited as I was 30 years back. Yeah, so it's a very exciting space to be. The second thing is that, there is no substitution for hard work and resilience. And I already mentioned about the other factors like, the learnability, what we have, the adaptability quotient that you bring in, and the dedication and the ability to speak up and communicate very effectively. All these becomes, very important. So my message would be that there is no glass ceiling. Sky is the limit. You just have to go for it.
Thank you on that very, very positive note. Thank you so much for being with us here. And uh, there are more women who join the industry, and automotive industry remains and does not remain one of the few employers that have just 3% women CXOs. So on that note, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you.